Namaste. In the 19th century, the entire world of linguistics and history came to a standstill. The entire world was spellbound by a book published by the European scholars on a Sanskrit text written by one of the Indian scholars during the ancient times. Today, we are going to see about this person who holds the title of world's most innovative genius to be ever born, or the father of linguistics. Panini did not write anything about himself in his own work, so there is no historical proper evidence as to when and where Panini existed. However, scholars have managed to predict that Panini existed somewhere around 4th century to 8th century, where the majority opinion lies that he existed around mid 4th century. He was born and lived in the kingdom of Gandhara, which would be in the present day Pakistan. So Panini's father's name was Panin, hence the name Panini. His mother's name was Dakshi. So certain texts also seem to call him as Dakshi Putra Panini. Panini also had a sibling whose name is Pingala, and Pingala is also a genius scholar known as father of numeric numbers. Panini's work is in Sanskrit and his main work is known as Ashtadhyayi. So Ashtadhyayi begins with highlighting the difference between Sanskrit language used in the Vedic texts and the Sanskrit language that was used to communicate on a day-to-day basis. So he sets out the difference. Secondly, Panini lays down the rules and standard of Sanskrit grammar. Now this is the most important part because here he explains Sanskrit grammar, and this eventually leads to the birth of classical Sanskrit, which continued to exist for the next 2 millennia after Panini. Panini later goes on to step by step lay down nouns, vowels, consonants and verbs in his text. Later, he also talks about the construction of sentences and the rules that shall apply to the construction of sentences in Sanskrit language. Now, Panini's work is so systematically and logically beautifully crafted that it is similar to principles of mathematics. In other words, it is mathematically systematic. Now, it is impossible to completely explain Ashtadhyayi because Ashtadhyayi is firstly written in the form of sutra. A sutra is like a thread to which beads can be attached. Sutra is like the thumb rule surrounding which words can be formed, construction of sentences can be done, and a single sutra can give birth to many other rules. And although written in the form of sutras, Ashtadhyayi is so fascinating because it has only 4,000 verses. But till today, it is the most complex and abstract text to ever be written. In fact, it is said that even Swami Vivekananda found it very hard to understand the bare text of Ashtadhyayi. In fact, the Western scholars were not able to understand anything which was there in Ashtadhyayi because it absolutely made no sense to them until computer coding was found and the scholars realized the similarity between computer language and the rules that Panini had laid down in Ashtadhyayi. So with just 8 chapters and 4,000 verses, Panini just dropped a bomb in the entire world of linguistics where everything came to a standstill. Now it is important to note that Ashtadhyayi is about Vyakaran, which is a part of Vedang, meaning it is used to understand the Vedas itself. However, despite its complexity, there are many bhashyas that were written, bhashyas or commentaries that were written on Ashtadhyayi. The most famous one being the Mahabhashya written by Patanjali himself. Now, the most core part of Panini's work is the Maheshwara Sutras, and the story behind this is quite interesting. So, Panini was once meditating on Lord Shiva. He was so deep into meditation that he did not even realize that Shiva had appeared in front of him. So to wake him from his meditation, Shiva started dancing and playing the damaru. Now while meditating, Panini heard the sounds of Shiva's damaru, and this he wrote down in the form of Maheshwara Sutras. Now, the most interesting part is that when scholars started analyzing Panini's work, they realized that Panini's rules of grammar did not just apply to Sanskrit but apply to every single language that exists. So his rules were so systematic and so precise that any language you could apply the same grammatical rules and it would perfectly fit in. Sanskrit can awaken a person's true potential, because the very reason why Sanskrit was laid down was to understand something absolutely subtle. To understand something as subtle as Brahman, Sanskrit was formalized and grammar was made. So when this was done, it is not very surprising that by chanting Sanskrit mantras and shlokas, you subconsciously awaken the true potential that is in yourself, which most of us are unaware of. Panini's work is used even today. Do you know where? On your computer. It is absolutely true that Panini's work is used today by scientists and by technologists to do computer coding. In fact, it is said that Panini's work, which was written in 4th century, remember, where something like computer was not even something that could have been construed in people's mind, and today in the 21st century, a text that was written in the 4th century is being used to advance the already existing technology that we have. That is how systematically organized and precise his work was. No wonder he is known as the most innovative genius of all time, because many scholars and many linguists of other languages have been inspired by Panini. In fact, many of the European linguists feel that the European languages can use and can benefit by far by Panini's work. However, let me throw a warning over here. You see, what is used in computer coding is only the peel of a banana. The actual fruit is something else. Because Panini's Sanskrit is not just about words, it's not just about the literal meaning, but Panini emphasizes a lot on the bhava, on the setting and the pronunciation of the Sanskrit words. Bhava is the feeling with which that word is said. So Panini's work did not just concentrate on Sanskrit grammar. Panini's work also gave us a window into the ancient Indian civilization. So Panini's text also talks about geography, it talks about politics, it talks about kingdom, it talks about civilization, it talks about agriculture, etc. in his work. Another very important thing to note while talking about Panini is that although Panini was an absolute genius, Panini was a bomb in the world of linguistics. Panini's work on Sanskrit opened the gates for classical Sanskrit. Panini was in fact not the first linguist in India. In fact, Panini himself talks about 10 other grammarians to have existed before him. And that is quite fascinating because it also shows that Sanskrit was not something that was that originated from Panini, but is something that has existed since way back, since time immemorial. And if Panini himself were able to quote 10 other grammarians on Sanskrit and many other works, that is texts on Sanskrit, then it only shows how well organized and well developed the Indian modern, ancient and Vedic civilization was. But Panini's work was the only work on Sanskrit grammar that had survived. So what happened to Panini's work? Now, Panini's work was absolutely famous and it spread all over India and everybody started learning Panini. So Panini's work was actually never lost. It just kept going from generation to generation, and there is a lot of evidence to show that every temple in India had a Pathshala which had its own school of Sanskrit grammar, and Panini's grammar was the most famous of them all. Even today you might find some temples which have these Pathshalas that teach Panini's grammar. However, it is true that during the invasion of the Mughals and the invasion of the British, many of these Pathshalas were destroyed or systematically removed through laws and legislations. It is true that even today many people continue to be awestruck and spellbound by Panini's work, and what kind of a mind that he would have had to come up with such a genius piece on Sanskrit grammar. So, despite that, we still in India are trying our best to continue Panini and appreciate Sanskrit and all the work that so many of these scholars have put into to make sure that this language, which is more than just a language, continues to exist and passes on from generation to generation for our own benefit.